In this video, I will go over some of the exercises of activity 2 of module V3. As you can see, we no longer get the help of the scale. We have to solve the equation that they give us right here without the scale, but we are going to use the same logic. Before we begin, please note that the equation looks slightly different from before. You see 6x plus 2 is equal to 2x plus 14. 6x means 6 times x, and 2x means 2 times x. In mathematics, we like to write things down as short as possible, and often when we mean a multiplication, a number multiplied by a variable like x, we write them down stuck together like that, but it still means 6 times x, and this still means 2 times x. Right, so imagine the scale that represents this equation. On the left-hand side of the scale, we would have 6 bags of each weighing x and 2 loose marbles. On the right-hand side, we would have 2 bags of x and 14 loose marbles. The scale is in balance, so right now the left-hand side weighs the same as the right-hand side. What we could do is take away 2 bags of marbles from both sides. Now here, in this activity, the site does the calculations for you. You only have to tell them what you want to do. So if I want to take away 2 x's from both sides, I press the minus button, and here I type in 2x. No need to type in minus 2x because the minus is already there. If I now press enter, the website does the calculations for you. So it notices that if I take away 2x on the right hand side, then all I have left there is 14. On the left hand side, if I take away 2 x's, 2 bags of x, I am left with 4 of those bags plus the 2 loose marbles. Now the next step is looking at the loose marbles, 2 on this side, 14 on the other side. I can take away 2 marbles on both sides, and then the scale will still be in balance. So I press minus again, and then I just type 2, and the computer says that 4x needs to be 12. This means 4 of those bags of marbles weighs 12, so 1 bag has to weigh 3. You can see that the computer will calculate that shortly, but how we get there is by dividing by 4. 4x is 12, we need to know what 1x is, so we divide by 4. Pressing the divide by button and writing down 4, enter, gives the solution I just mentioned, x equals 3. Moving on to exercise 3. Here the equation that we need to solve is 12x minus 7 equals 8x minus 11. Again, 12x means 12 times x, and 8x means 8 times x. Let's focus on the x's first. I can take away 8 bags of marbles from both sides, and then the scale will still be in balance. So I press the minus button again, and I type in 8x. So then the equation becomes 4x minus 7 equals minus 11. Now, minus 7 here, minus 11 there. If I want to make the 7 on the left-hand side 0, if I want to take away all of those negative yellow balls that we saw in the previous activity, then I have to add 7 to make it 0. So I press the plus button, I type in 7, enter, and I get 4x equals minus 4. So 4 times x equals minus 4. The last step is always to divide by whatever you have in front of x. So if I have 4 bags of marbles like here, I divide by 4. And the solution of this equation is x equals minus 1. Moving on to the next one. 15 plus 9 times x equals minus 12. As you can see, the bags of marbles are only on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, we have none of those bags, just a negative number of loose marbles. So we can look at those loose numbers straight away. 15 over here, minus 12 over there. If I want the left-hand side to only have bags of marbles, then I need to take away this 15. And I do that by doing minus 15 on both sides. That means that on the right hand side, minus 12 becomes minus 27. So 9 times x is equal to minus 27. I want to know what 1 times x is, so I divide by 9. And the solution to this equation is x equals minus 3. Exercise 5 then. On the left hand side we have minus 10 and minus 7 times x. On the right hand side we have minus 13x and 2. Now, you can look at the x's first. For instance, if you want all of the x's, all of the bags of marbles to be on the left hand side, then you need to remove them from the right hand side. If you want to make minus 13x into 0, you have to do plus 13x. You have to do the exact opposite of what you see here. So I press the plus and I type in 13x. And as you can see on the right hand side, the only thing that remains is 2. While on the left hand side, the minus 7x becomes 6x because 13x has been added to it. So I used to have minus 7 bags of marbles, which isn't a real thing, but just go with me here. If I add 13 x's to that 13 bags of marbles, I get 6x, 6 bags of marbles. The minus 10 is still there, as you can see. That's what I need to focus on next. If I want to get rid of the minus 10 on the left hand side, I need to add 10, plus 10. On the right hand side, the 2 then becomes 12. So the equation now is 6x equals 12. The last step is always dividing by whatever you see in front of x. So divide by 6. And we have our solution, x equals 2. One more to go. Exercise 8. 16x minus 7 equals 9x minus 63. The 9x on the right hand side we can remove by pressing the minus button, type in 9x, and I get 7x minus 7 equals minus 63. If I want to remove the minus 7 on the left hand side, then I do plus 7. So plus 7 gives 7x equals minus 56. Now, again, the last step, always divide by whatever you see in front of x. So dividing by 7 in this case gives the solution x equals minus 8.